Welcome to episode 51 of Last Turn. I'm Bart, and today I'm joined by Evan, and we're going to review the new set.
Oh my god, I just feel the same anxiety every time.
I don't feel any anxiety because I know that I'm going to be wrong.
Yeah, but I don't want to be every time. I think this time I won't be every time. But yeah, definitely let's get ready to be wrong about a bunch of stuff. Welcome
Oh,
to
sure.
Last Turn Set Review Lite.
Yeah, right. Welcome to Set Review Lite. So the wrongness starts now. I think that this set is powerful.
Yes, that's a good place to start. Is maybe before we dive into individual cards, overall feelings about the set, and yeah, flavor wise, it is mind blowingly good. Right, the feel of the cards, there's so many throwbacks
Mm.
that are done really well, and then there's also sneaky stuff. They made Twin Spell a mechanic, but then they snuck it onto a bunch of other cards. Like Steladris gives you your choose one copies. It sort
Oh,
of gives your
yeah,
choose one cards Twin Spell, but with half
right.
the efficiency. Archmage Vargoth, he casts a random spell that you played this turn at the end of your turn. So he kind of does a random twin spell. So that kind of stuff is just blowing my mind every card I read. But yeah, I also think they're strong and definitely really cool, but I've definitely felt that way before. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's a bunch of cards in this set that are obviously powerful in that they pass the vanilla test, but have additional stuff on them. Uh,
Right.
I mean, some of them require some setup, so they might not see play, and I think we'll definitely get to some of those. One thing I really like about this set is that there's a lot of disruption, and that is something they've been really shy about, but there is a lot of it in this set.
Yeah, you're right. There's the 5/6 that casts a spell from their hand. That's
That
new.
card's sick.
And then there's also Hecklebot, which pulls a minion out of their deck.
Yeah. There's the spell word jeweler, which makes you so you can't be targeted by spells or hero powers until your next turn. Like,
Yeah, that
um,
gives you Shroud.
yeah, there's an unprecedented level of disruption, which is cool because there's also a bunch of cards that are synergistic and abusable and kind of want you to set them up. I think that maybe they learned that you need answers in their game. Otherwise, you get uninteractive Mechathon, uninteractive Uther combo, uninteractive Crystal Core. So I think that they wanted to avoid that a little bit, which is great.
Yeah, you make a good point. I didn't really notice that change until you pointed it out, but I think there's truth to the idea that you can have functioning, like, in-depth thematic combo decks that work because there's disruption.
Hmm.
In Magic, there's definitely always been plenty of disruption. There's cards like Duress since forever that directly look at your opponent's hand. You get to pick out cards and have them discard them.
Yeah.
Um, that sort of lets you make the effects stronger.
Yes.
You can make the effects more powerful if you have that. And I think that Hearthstone and Blizzard was definitely more of the way to make these effects flourish is to not print any ways to stop them, to make no predators for the prey. But I think they're finding out that doesn't exactly work because then certain things just become degenerate.
Yeah, I think I think that actually having disruption will give them a larger. I agree with you. It lets them access more design space by allowing them to print more powerful or more exotic things, or even just having some of their most powerful things not be quite so dominant.
Mm-hmm.
So that some of the less powerful but maybe less synergistic type synergies could flourish a bit more, whereas maybe that middle ground was just not worth playing pre-disruption. So anyway, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, the disruption theoretically should punish the thing that's weighing more on the synergy harder. So the
Hmm.
more degenerate synergistic card or synergistic decks should get hurt more by the disruption, which is one way it's sort of should be an equalizer.
Yes, right. Yeah, I mean, it depends on the details of the combo and stuff and the details of the disruption, but yes. If
Like
it's like greedy, if the greedier deck should be punished harder by disruption.
exactly, like a 2 mana wrath, like would have really punished like old token druid.
Defile.
But like a 4 mana wrath would be close to as good in most metagames, or 3 mana wrath. But the 2 mana wrath would have been much more meaningful in that format where people were making an entire board the first turn.
Yeah, for sure. So this is, I mean, I think this is really cool. I'm excited to talk about these cards. So let's dive right into Druid. We're gonna go in Blizzard order.
Of course, 'tis the
Um,
season.
I don't remember who started last time, so I'll start. How's that?
I love it.
Cool. It's assertive. So my first card is Dreamway Guardians. It's a card that we talked a little bit about. It
Hmm.
is 2 mana for a spell, and it says summon 2/1/2 Dryads with lifesteal.
Dryads.
Yeah, they're probably not Trents.
Yeah, they're not going to be. I guess their type isn't relevant, but they do have lifesteal.
Yes. So the reason I like this card is one, it gives you 2 minions for 1, and Druid is one of those classes that is equipped to deal with having, like, to take advantage of the fact that its power and toughness is spread across many minions. So it has Power of the Wild in Classic, and it has Mark of the Lotus in Wild, and it also has Blessing of the Ancients now in Standard, which is not another card, but it's 3 mana twin spell, give your minions +1/+1. So
Right.
I think that Dreamway Guardians is poised to take advantage of some of this. Also, it passes the vanilla test by quite a bit. So 2 mana for 2/4 is already above rate, and it's 2/4 with lifesteal.
That's a great deal.
Yeah, so this is a really fantastic deal for 2 mana. So if there is an aggressive go wide Druid deck, I think it really wants this card.
Yeah, it looks awesome.
Yeah, it's not so much to say about it. I just think that this is one of those cards. It's just like it passed the vanilla test, and that's really good.
Yeah, I
Um,
think it's going to be very good as well.
So another card that I think we've already mentioned that I think is going to be very good is Keeper Stellardris. Stellardris.
Yes, he's got like almost twin spell. Why don't you read him?
Yeah. Yeah, so it's 2 mana for a 2/3. After you cast a choose one spell, add copies of both choices to your hand. I didn't even realize that that was like twin spell until you pointed it out. It totally is.
It's really surprising how many places they snuck that in when you look for it.
Yeah, that's funny. I bet that they were like, maybe they had some idea to do twin spell, and then people were just trying to think of the wackiest things they could, but they couldn't template it. But they were like cool enough effects that they included it.
Yeah, like it works for it makes sense for Druid. Like they're
Yeah.
trying to maybe they were trying to split every spell in half, and they're like, well, that's tough. But what about the ones that are already kind of split in half?
Yeah, but this card's cool because 2 mana 2/3 is the vanilla test. That's River Croc.
Bada bing.
And yeah, I mean that's like they're 2 mana 2/3 with Trinket Text is a standard playable card like historically. So this is potentially a lot more than Trinket Text. So like 2 mana 2/3 is not amazing stats in anything but the first few turns of the game, but this effect is actually quite good in mid game and possibly even late game, depending on the cards in your deck. So
Hmm.
Nourish we might not see much of. Who knows? Maybe we'll see it. But a card like Wrath is really good with this.
Oh yeah, and very easy. That's only 4 mana. That's excellent.
Yeah, and even in Wild, if you want to play, what's that one that summons 1/1s or does 2 damage?
Living Roots.
Living Roots. This card would be sick with Living Roots.
It's actually also great with Crystal Power, which is a 1 mana spell in this set.
Oh yeah,
A new card. It's a 1 mana common spell. Choose one, deal 2 damage to a minion, or restore 5 health, which means you could target a minion or yourself.
mm.
Um, it would be great with that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's and it's poised to like be available for you to use with that next turn with a hero power or something.
It's also quite
So
nice with Power of the Wild, which you already mentioned.
yeah, definitely. That's absolutely a card I thought of in like the in this aggressive deck. Uh, just running this card with that would be awesome. It's just like hard to imagine playing a Druid deck that doesn't play this, but I mean, who knows? Maybe we'll see some greedy synergistic Druid decks that just don't have space for it.
It does look like it's going to be in almost every Druid deck, though.
Yeah, that's how I feel. But again, the being wrong already started. So
Oaken Summons is rotating out, as is Kaliseth, so there's going to be a lot fewer reasons not to use it.
This is true. This is absolutely true. Um, so I think that yeah, if I had to take a bet, I'd say that this one's going to be pretty widely played.
Same.
Yeah, maybe. So what about you? What cards did you pick here?
Yeah, still just amazing. I first picked Life Weaver. So this is a 3 mana minion. It's a 2/5, and it says when you restore health, add a random druid spell to your hand.
3 mana 2/5 is pretty good, and that might not be that hard.
Yeah, so there's a bunch of cards that say you gotta restore 5 health. This doesn't say that. It just says restore health. The other thing is that there's now some cheap. There's at least one cheap druid spell and a few other druid spells that restore health. So
Hmm.
I could foresee kind of doing a Lyra-ish thing with Lifeweaver. Um, if you have enough mana, you play her and you gain health, and you get a druid spell that restores health, then you might be able to just go off a little bit. Which is pretty cool because you wouldn't. Some druid spells are really good.
Oh yeah, yeah. Druid
Um,
has some awesome spells.
it's not going to have ultimate infestation anymore, but it's like you said its stats are solid, 3 mana 2/5, and then so you mentioned a card that I think it's great with. I was thinking, how do you actually do Life Weaver on turn 3? I was like, well,
Hmm.
if you have like an innervate, you could do. I don't know. I was like, wait a minute. If you had a lifesteal minion that cost 2,
Yeah, it's Dreamway Guardians.
Dreamway Guardians. If you play the card you mentioned, Dreamway Guardians on turn 2, you'll have 1/2 life steals. They're probably not going to be able to kill both of them. And then turn 3, you play Life Weaver and attack, and you should be able to get a card. Hopefully, not
Yeah.
necessarily. You would
So,
something would need damage on it, but if you have a 1/2, you might be able to get it to attack to have damage on it, and you have a hero power that lets you take damage. So if you can sneak
it's true.
that in, there's that as well.
Yeah, so one thing that makes me worried about these cards, and it might not be an issue in the type of deck that these will show up in, maybe, is that Druid also tends to be an armor class. I think a bunch of their armor synergy is rotating, so maybe maybe that theme is going to be downplayed enough. But
Hmm.
that's kind of a non-bow with restoring health.
Yeah, against control decks and it being health and not armor is a lot different.
Oh yeah,
But
but it's still interesting.
yeah, and there's also like um injured blade master. I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, this just says restore health doesn't mean to your hero, so there's like absolutely ways for you to do this even through a lot of armor, which is pretty cool.
There's actually a 3 mana 3/5 that deals 5 to you. It's a turtle. I don't know if it's worth it, but it's something.
Now that is a combo. I love it. Just to get a random druid spell.
Well, there's something else you can get, and it's my second card.
Hmm.
Uh, Crystal Stag. It's a
Oh
5
yes.
mana 4/4 beast with Rush and Battle Cry. If you've restored 5 health this game, summon a copy of this. So you can get 2/4/4 rushes for 5. It sounds pretty nasty to me.
Yeah, that card looked really good. I mean, it definitely has some setup, but the thing is, like, that's not a whole lot of setup. Like, if you restored 5 health this game, and even if it takes you a long time to do that, 5 mana for 2/4/4s with rush is good at pretty much every point of the game.
It's quite excellent, like all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, playing this on curve, that is an absolute slam dunk. But even playing it like past turn 10 is potentially great against some boards. So it's like pretty flexible. I think it's good.
Yeah, I think that even a deck that doesn't wind up wanting Lifeweaver and isn't that committed to gaining health will still like want to include like 2 crystal powers and like maybe 1 or 2 other ways to gain health just to have 2 copies of this card in their deck because it's so friggin' good. And
Yeah,
at worst case scenario, it's actually gonna be like Druid of the Claw, which is a great card.
it's true. Yeah, Druid of the Claw is that's seen play historically. Very good.
So like, and getting two of those. I mean, I'm just thinking about that. Like, it sounds like it's gonna be good.
Oh yeah, that's pretty sweet.
Hunter,
Um, Hunter. So you lead us here.
thank you, sir. That's so gracious of you. I'm gonna unleash the beast for you. Um,
Mm.
to show my thanks. So, Unleash the Beast is a 6 mana hunter spell. It's got twin spell, so that means that after you play it, you'll be getting a copy of the spell in your hand that doesn't have twin spell. So you basically get to play the spell exactly twice. And this one summons a 5/5 Wyvern with a rush. So the Wyvern, I'm almost certain, is a beast, and hunters
Maybe
like
it's a
beasts.
dragon.
Is a dragon?
Maybe.
I guess we should check that because I was
Well, we have the internet.
pretty sure I'd like seen a picture, but maybe I haven't.
It
Unleash
does
the
say unleash the
beast.
beast, not unleash the dragon. So I think that's reasonable.
That's
I
true.
haven't seen a picture, so
Wyvern. Is that what? Maybe that's what Leok is, and that's why it's a beast. You know,
mm.
because wait, am I saying the right one? Yeah, Leok is I thought that was a Chimera actually.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a I'm not sure. There's gotta be some information about this card somewhere.
I'm not finding. I'm like
Yeah, I went to Hearthwiki and it didn't it
googling
didn't turn up
really
the answer.
hard.
So yeah,
Okay, well that either way, but I'm pretty
sure.
sure it's a beast because it
I'll
says
take
Unleash
beast.
the Beast. But Hearthstone, um, it's a 5/5 that can attack immediately, and then you get to do another one, and it's a spell. So if you're trying
Zul'jin.
to avoid like certain deck constraints, like not having certain types of minions or whatever, this isn't a minion. So I think it's got a
Yeah,
lot going for it.
yeah, that's true. I mean, it's good with Zul'jin. It's quite a bit of value. I mean, 6 mana for a 5/5 is not the worst. I mean, in arena that's fine, especially with Rush. And even potentially in standard because you're actually getting two copies of this card when you play it. It's a lot of mana, but like again, 5/5's like pretty chunky.
Yeah, I forgot about Zul'jin. Definitely
Yeah.
very good with him.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, that just increases the power of what you can do immediately after you play it, which is awesome. You know, being able to do a lot of mana worth of stuff in one turn and just have more options after you play 10 mana cards always good.
Yeah, Unleash the Beast does exactly what you want your Zul'jin to do. It puts stuff
Yeah.
on the board and helps you clear their board.
Yes, exactly.
And is not random, unlike a lot of the other cards, which
For
is
sure.
nice. Um, okay, and then my other pick is a legendary, Verisa Windrunner.
Mm.
Presuming related to Sylvanas Windrunner, sister, something like that.
Someone knows.
Cousin. I guess Ben Brode knows. Um, he's busy having dinner. So it's a 7 mana 5/6 with Battle Cry. Equip Thoridal, the Star's Fury. That's a weapon that it does something. I'm gonna have to Google it exactly because I forgot exactly what it does.
Mm.
I can tell you what it does in WoW.
It's like a 2/3 weapon that when you attack gives you spell damage +2 for the turn, right?
Yeah, it's a 3-cost 2/3 weapon. And when your hero, it says after your hero attacks, gains 2 spell damage this turn.
Interesting.
So you can guarantee quite a lot of damage from a lot of different cards, and you don't need to do it in one turn. You get 3 turns to do it. So just between kill commands, the new common,
Oh, rapid fire. Yeah, that's interesting.
yeah, rapid fire. Thank you. You could pump out a lot of damage. There's probably others I'm not thinking of, but it seems very strong.
Is this the set for Malagos Hunter? We'll find out.
Yeah, I mean that's like a very good point. After the turn you play her, you'll get either 2 or 3 turns where you don't need to spend any mana the sides on your stuff,
Yeah,
on your damage spells.
yeah, for sure. Um, it is, yeah. I mean, that's really excellent. I think that this is like that's potentially really good. And this is something that you could play before you play Malagos and just like set up having that weapon on and just have a really great turn. And
Exactly.
yeah, it's I didn't even really consider that this is something that like combos well with existing stuff because I just thought like, oh, spell damage hunter, it's kind of weak, but no, maybe it's really good.
I think that Hunter's shown like when like some random legendary is strong enough, like Rexar, Deathstalker Rexar, for example. Um, they're like they're decent at getting to it because they have tracking,
Mm,
and when you can be beating them and then they get that card and then you lose. And I think this could fit in a lot of different hunter decks. They don't need to be spell damage hunter to play this card. It could just be like oh, I got Verisa, I'm gonna kill my opponent in 2 turns now. And I wasn't definitely gonna win in 2 turns, but now I am.
mm, yeah, that's very strong.
It's more versatile than I think just one deck archetype.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, I mean, also just 2 mana, 2/3. Rather an A 2/3 weapon is like decent. Maybe not on turn 7, but it's still okay.
You could turn 10 attack with the weapon and then play Zul'jin.
It's true. Yeah, I mean, that's potentially really strong.
Just don't target yourself.
Yeah, try not to. Um, so the first card that was 2 cards, right? Yeah, it was Unleash the Beast and Windrunner. So the
You
first
are
card
up.
that
Yes.
first card I picked is 9 Lives. So 9 Lives is 3 mana. Discover a friendly Death Rattle minion that died this game. Also trigger its Death Rattle. So this is one of those cards that like is an expansion too late, and I think that tends to happen on rotation. They like print a bunch of the effects that they really couldn't print in the previous standard. Um,
Hmm.
because this with like Katharina is just disgusting.
Yeah, that'd be insane.
Yeah, or the like that ooze. Is that still around? The one that like gains a death rattle of something in your deck?
No, I think that's actually like Carnivorous Cube's like unsuccessful cousin,
Yeah, right.
or less successful rather.
Yeah. I mean, it did see play. So it's unfortunate that those cards aren't around anymore. They are in Wild, so this card is potentially playable there. Because I mean, this is like when you take a step back, this is a very powerful resurrect card in the right deck.
That's
Uh,
true.
yeah. So
Well, the first card I thought of when I saw 9 Lives was the egg, but it's rotating out. Devilsaur Egg.
yeah,
So it
yeah.
seems a lot less broken now.
Yeah, I agree with you. So this might not be the standard for it, maybe not immediately, but this is a really strong effect. And like this is a powerful resurrect card. Think about resurrect, the 2 mana priest spell. That does see play sometimes in wild, and that's like a pretty strong that's 2 mana and you get a random thing that died. This actually gives you some choice. It gives you some choice over a smaller set of minions, and then it gives you value even after that. So it's a lot on one card, and it's only one mana more than the Resurrected Priest, which we know is a playable card.
Yeah, I almost picked it. It looks really good.
I think so too. Even if it doesn't see play immediately, I think that it will see play somewhere. But again, being wrong.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, me too. I'm also wrong.
yeah, definitely. So the next card that I picked is Shimmerfly. This is
Ah.
actually pretty similar to some cards we've seen in the past. This is 1 mana, 1/1 beast. Add a death rattle. Add a random hunter spell to your hand. So this is in I think in the right deck, in like a fast hunter deck that cares about beasts, which not something that's really happened before. Um, this card is potentially playable.
Mm-hmm.
This is a little bit like, what is that card called? Webweaver? No.
Yeah, the
Web
one
Spinner.
one with Death Rattle add a random beast to your hand, and it itself was a beast.
Yes. So this is at least similar to that, and I think it really depends on the average quality of hunter spells whether this will be as good. Because Web Spinner tended to see play in decks that like wanted minions, and like getting another minion in your hand is really good. This is not giving you a minion, but if the average quality of Hunter spells is good, then this card could be potentially awesome.
I think you are right. Yeah, it's a very good comparison to Web Spinner, I think it is.
It's Web Spinner, yeah.
Yeah, it's for one the best tavern brawl, obviously,
Oh
but
my god.
also the um, Master's Call. Like they've kind of been accepting some. Like I think they would almost take anything at that cost of one that's like half decent. That's a beast.
Mm,
Because that card is just so good with good one mana minions. So I could see it actually just being thrown into the decks that are using Spring Paws, Timberwolves, and Dire Moles and other one drop beasts and Scavenging Hyena, and just throw this in there, and then sometimes they'll get another Master's Call, or another Kill Command. I think there,
yeah.
or Unleash the Beast. I think there's a bunch of great hits in Hunter.
Yeah, I think so too. It seems potentially very strong, or at least playable.
I don't think there's many like non-spells that are super expensive at this point. I guess, well, I mean, depending on your hand, the Boomzooka is either going to be awful or amazing.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
But it could definitely be spicy.
Yeah, for sure. It seems potentially very strong. Do you want to move on to Mage?
Let's do Mage.
All right. So Mage. Had a little bit of a hard time with this. I guess I didn't find a lot of these super compelling. Some of them are good, but
Hmm.
anyway, we'll talk about it. Uh, so the first up I have is Mana Cyclone.
Hmm.
I think that this card is decent. It's a 2 mana 2/2 with Battle Cry. For each spell you've cast this turn, add a random mage spell to your hand. So this is not really a 2 mana. It's elemental as well. That's worth mentioning.
Yeah.
Um, it is not a good turn 2 play. It is a good turn 10 play.
Yeah, it's a great turn, like 8, 9, 10.
Yeah, for sure. I think that this is like maybe not the kind of card you want to just play in like a tempo deck. Maybe it is. I guess it really depends what it looks like. Um, but this could help you assemble like a 2-turn kill on your opponent with fireballs and stuff. Um, that could be exactly what you need. Maybe you just get a lot of or a little bit of value out of it with some frost bolts or like an arcane intellect or something like that.
Hmm.
But or some secrets even. That could really just make your opponent's life hell. Maybe in Wild you play this with Ice Block and just like make your opponent want to die.
Yeah, this could get you, as long as it gets you two cards, one card for 2/2 and two cards is pretty amazing. So you just need to play two spells for it to be a great deal.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, on a full set of mana crystals, that's not super hard.
Not hard at all. I think
Um,
it's especially good with Ray of Frost, which is a new card. It's a one mana spell with Twin Spell.
mm. Yeah, so that's interesting. I also feel like that's good with Vex Crow.
Vex Crow is that staying with us?
Yeah, that's in Witchwood, right? And Witchwood is staying.
Yeah, that makes sense. Vex, which
Yep.
I'm with you.
Yeah, so I feel like Ray of Frost is decent with that card as well. I mean, who knows if the Tempo Mage deck will exist? We don't exactly have Flamewaker, although we do have Flamewaker's silly little brother here, Magic Dart Frog. Um, but yeah, so I think it's like Mana Cyclone seems versatile enough. I mean, also just like imagine having this in a control deck and like you Flame Strike your opponent and you Mana Cyclone to get another Flame Strike. Like
Hmm.
that's good.
It does. Yeah, I agree. That card does seem really good.
Yeah, I feel like it just does enough stuff that it is possibly playable. But I'm ready to be wrong here.
I think it's good enough to fit in quite a few mage decks. I think, yeah, doesn't have to be
Um,
elemental or just controller tempo.
yeah, I agree with that. So the second card that I have here, this was kind of tough because there's a few interesting cards, but none seem like super obviously powerful. So I picked one that's a bit of a cop out. I have Messenger Raven here. So this is
Oh.
a 3 mana 3/2 beast, which is below rate, but it has Battle Cry. Discover a mage minion. So
Hmm.
I think if there is a tempo mage deck, this is the kind of card that you want in like, in a board centric minion beat your opponent down type deck. Cards that draw other cards are awesome, and this is a good deal for that. I mean,
Hmm.
um, Rogue is willing to play the Elvish Minstrel. Is that what it's called? The 4 mana 3/2. So
Elven Minstrel, yeah.
Elven Minstrel. So that's like you get one more minion, but it also has combos, so you have to like set it up, and it's got the same stats. This is like similar, but it doesn't have the required setup, and it's a little cheaper.
This is true. It's just you just get it, and it's the same stats as that guy.
Yeah, I mean, a 3/2 on turn three is like that's fine. It's below raid. It's not amazing, but it can definitely tango with anything else your opponent's playing on 3 mana.
For sure. It's very nice that it's discover and not add a random
Oh yeah,
mage minion, and it's not just a random minion like it's a mage minion. Pretty sweet.
oh yeah, yeah. I mean, mage minions tend to be interesting, like Mana Cyclone or Vexcro.
Hey, deja vu all over again.
Yep. So those are my two.
Yeah, I think they're both great.
Hmm.
So, I guess that makes it my turn, since I don't think there's anyone else here. Um, so I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that Tempo Mage is gonna be really good out of the gate.
Mm.
The two cards you mentioned, I think, will both be excellent in the deck. The first card I picked, which I think is the best mage card in the set, and maybe one of the best mage cards ever, Ray of Frost. It's a 1 mana spell with Twin Spell. Freeze a minion. If it's already frozen, deal 2 damage to it instead.
It's a lot for 1 mana. Very flexible.
It is just like the most obnoxious thing I've ever seen. Like being able to like choose so there's cards like Frost Nova, but usually when you play Frost Nova, you only needed to freeze 1 or 2 minions. So this can basically Frost Nova for 1 less mana, or sometimes your opponent has 1 big minion and you wish you could like kind of snip your Frost Nova in half, except that doesn't make any. You can't do anything like that. Well, wait a minute. Now you can. Or if you really need to kill something, if it's got text on it that makes it relevant, this is 2 mana for 2 damage, which is not amazing, but it's not awful, and you can always top that off with your hero power. You can always top that off with some spell damage or another spell. If you freeze it somehow with another spell like Blizzard, or if you're using Glacial Shard or Water Elemental. Sadly, in Standard, you would not be using Frostitch Jaina to freeze anything, but...
Or Glacial Shard.
Oh, right, Glacial Shard is Jungles of Dinosaurs.
Yeah, Jungles of Dinosaurs.
Okay. That's a bummer, right? But either way, I think this card is nuts. And it's excellent with Mana Cyclone. Like, turn 4, you can just Ray of Frost and kill their guy and play Mana Cyclone and get 2 cards. And so on and so forth. Arcane Missiles has definitely proven itself. It's been in a bunch of decks.
Surprisingly, yeah.
I know, right? And I also double-checked. I looked it up. Cinderstorm is staying.
Cool.
I forget what set it's in, but that's that. In case anyone forgot, is sort of like big Arcane Missiles, 3 mana for 5 damage, divided randomly amongst enemy minions. Another reason I think Ray of Frost will be really good is Cosmic Anomaly will be staying with us.
And that's a good card.
It's a really great minion in Tempo Mage. It's a 4 mana 4/3, so that's one reason it's great, because its stats are solid. It's a Spellbreaker stat wise, and it's got spell damage +2, so that can turn Ray of Frost into 6 damage for 2 mana, which is spicy. Assuming something is frozen. Oh wait, 8 damage. Assuming something is frozen. Damage. So if you have a Frostbolt, essentially, you can do an insane amount of damage for very little mana. So I kind of foresee a deck that turn 1, turn 2, turn 3, turn 4 is playing like efficient minions or relatively efficient minions, and keeping their opponent off stuff with things like Arcane Missiles, and then and then up into like turn 7, 8, they will play a Cosmic Anomaly and a Sorcerer's Apprentice and just blow your face open.
Hmm.
And or they'll play a Sorcerer's Apprentice and do a bunch of damage to you, and then play a Mana Cyclone. So I think Sorcerer's Apprentice will be a key part of it. Another card that will be in it is Spellzerker.
What does that do?
Uh, right
What is
answer.
that?
It's a 2 mana neutral, 2/3. When it has damage on it, it has spell damage +2.
Ah, yeah, that's interesting.
It can also be nasty with Arcane Missiles, Ray of Frost. Um, and then Messenger Raven, or Messenger Crow, which one is it?
Messenger Raven.
Okay, good. Messenger Crow would be stupid. Messenger Raven, the messenger will always be, ah! Messenger Raven is gonna be sick because it's gonna be another way to get a Sorcerer's Apprentice.
Yeah, that's true. You could hit a Sorc Apprentice off that. There's a lot of minions you could hit, or like Cosmic Anomaly or
Mm-hmm.
something.
A lot of the cards that you want that I was like rattling off are on the list of things you get to discover off the Raven. So I think the
Yeah, that's awesome.
Raven will also be an integral part of this deck, and I don't, maybe it won't be good in like a week, but I think I would I'm I think it will be. Less certain about that, but I'm pretty certain that people will put this together and be kicking ass at least at the beginning.
Oh yeah, for sure.
The other minion I picked, um, Time for a Lesson, Insolent Pup,
It's a cool card.
is of course Khadgar. He's a 2 mana legendary, which is always exciting, an inexpensive legendary. He's a 2/2, slightly below what you would want. Your cards that summon minions summon twice as many. So it's very silly. It takes a couple reads. One thing to note is that it doesn't say your spells that summon minions. It says your
Ooh,
cards that summon minions. So if you had like a Nerubian egg out in Wild and played Khadgar and killed it, you would get 2/4/4s.
that's yeah. I mean, or like a piloted shredder, if you're so inclined.
Yeah, there's a lot of ways you can. I get a lot of inclinations looking at Khadgar.
Yeah, that's very interesting. It's also good with the call to arms that's in Mage.
um.
The 4 mana thing that like
Oh
is
yeah.
improved yeah, is improved by spell damage and summons like two cost minions or something like that.
Yes. Like something unexpected results maybe.
That sounds sure. Yeah, why not?
But yeah, that's 4 mana. Summon 2 random 2 cost minions, but then it says improved by spell damage, which uh, after playing the card, because that's the only way to know, has been revealed to mean if you have spell damage +3, you would get 2 5 cost minions. So
Yeah,
Khadgar would give you 4 5 cost minions.
that's pretty lit. I mean,
I'm in.
yeah, so that's potentially like so Khadgar's interesting. I didn't even really consider that. I don't know. I read it and didn't think about it that much, but like you're right that there's a lot of cards that are really good with this, especially in other classes. Since Mage isn't always like super about summoning minions, but like that's very interesting because anything in neutral that's summoning minions is going to summon twice as many. So
Hmm.
if there's like some neutral card that's just good enough to play, um, it will definitely see play alongside Khadgar.
Yeah, you just inspired me to think of there's a new 4 mana 3/3. I forgot its name,
Oh
but it
yeah,
summons 2/1/1s that are every minion type. And
Hench Clan Hag, I think.
what hag?
Hench Clan Hag, is
Hench
that it?
Clan Hag. That sounds right. Uh,
Yeah, that is right.
and Murloc Mage has been a thing before, so
That's interesting.
that's
That's
silly.
interesting and dumb.
And also, like Murloc Tidecaller would also summon an extra 1/1 if you have Khadgar out.
That's worth playing.
That is some value right there. So yeah, I don't know what kind of like if it's going to be in a combo deck, but I think that there might just be enough cards that summon minions that are good that you would want to just run Khadgar and run those good cards and run other cards I was rattling off that deal damage and gain tempo, and then sometimes you'll have Khadgar, or sometimes you'll discover him off the Raven and get to
Mm,
do something stupid. Um,
mirror entity.
yeah, it would work with Mirror Entity. I mean, the
Yeah,
list
that's so stupid.
is pretty long, so I love the hero
Hmm.
Khadgar. Is that what it's called? The plate thingy. You
Um.
can buy them for
Oh
five
yeah.
dollars
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
or ten
Yeah. I think
dollars.
hero is good enough.
Yeah. Um,
Um. Oh, that's all. This also works with Molten Reflection, a card that's rotating, but like that could just make Combo Mage even more annoying and wild.
yeah, this looks like it's much more degenerate in Wild. I mean, you have N'Zoth, like,
Yeah. Right. Absolutely. That's really interesting. Could do some fancy stuff with this guy.
yeah, just only run the two Death Lords, and then play Emperor, get N'Zoth and this guy down to 1 and 9, and then play them the same turn and get 4 more Death Lords.
That'll make your opponent very sad.
They'll just want to be dead.
So yeah, I think that's really interesting. I think you make a lot of good points. That card's definitely worth thinking about. What do you say about moving on to Paladin?
Let's do it. Paladin is always a class I'm excited to get excited about.
Oh yeah, Paladin's kind of does a lot of stuff. It's got a lot of strengths.
It's like Bad Druid.
Yeah, I think that's a really good assessment of what Paladin is. It's bad druid for sure.
Oh, poor Uther.
Yeah, but I mean he tends to be playable, but like definitely still bad druid. But yeah,
Okay, so let's look at the first Bad Druid card.
sure.
This is definitely a lot like a Druid card. Never surrender! Exclamation point. So 1 mana secret, and it says when your opponent casts a spell, give your minions +2 health. So that's my first Paladin pick. Um,
Interesting.
I think that if you only have a few minions out, like 2 even, this is actually giving you a ton of value.
Hmm.
Assuming your minions are even half decent. And if you have a big board, this can be really great in the fact that it can just give your minions a huge buff. I can also like honorable mention to the fact that this card exists now means that other cards that like discover secrets could give you this, and also that your opponent will now always have to think about this secret when you play any secret. So that's always like bonus value of this card existing. But
Yeah.
there's also like kind of like uh, I don't know, maybe it's obvious, maybe it's not obvious, but the fact that if your opponent plays a spell that does damage to all your minions and it's supposed to be just enough, and then suddenly they get 2 health, it's not going to be enough anymore. So
Yeah, so that's where I feel like this is strong. This is
yeah,
strong in a deck that like is proactive. It's making a bunch of minions and it happens to have secrets in it. If your opponent tries to like consecrate you, or they try to like excavated evil, or play a more like I don't really know of any Hellfire. Sure, that's relevant. So they play
Hagatha's
Hellfire.
scheme.
Yeah, well, I mean that does infinite damage, or at least like 10 or something. But or I mean Hagatha herself, like all of these cards which are supposed to just like end your day, or Lightning Storm. These are supposed to just make the game over for you, or at least like the turn over for you. Never Surrender is going to make your opponent want to die.
Yeah, they'll think it's your last turn, and you'll show
But they
them
were wrong.
it's really
Yeah, they
theirs.
will. They'll see you next turn. So yeah. What else? What else you got for us?
So to go with Never Surrender, I've
Oh,
also
sure.
picked Commander Rissa.
Yeah, there's a couple places you could go after that. Anyway, go on.
Yes, which is good. That's
Yeah,
one
I think so too.
one of the reasons I went this way. 3 mana, 4/3, riding a robotic ostrich, um, and it says your secrets trigger twice. So that's pretty spicy for a bunch of reasons. One of them, one of my favorites, is Never Surrender, because it means your minions can get +4 health, which is absurd. Um, she's technically very vulnerable with those stats, 3 mana, 4/3. That's still pretty good and aggressive, but vulnerable. But if your secrets are triggering twice, she should be better defended. She'll be able to get more health off of Never Surrender. Um, and I think that actually might be the only example right now, sadly, but it's still something. That's kind of one of the sucky
Well,
things is that like auto defense matrix isn't gonna really give her divine shield twice, I don't think.
What about that? What about the one that revives something that dies with 1 health?
Ooh, yeah. So if that's probably also not gonna work if she dies.
But what if she dies and then she comes? So this depends on the Hearthstone stack and who the hell knows how that works. But um, she would die, come back, and then maybe it would trigger again. It depends when it checks for this.
That would be amazing, and that would make me feel even better about choosing her. But
Yeah, but I doubt that it works like that.
I was working on the assumption it doesn't, and that they've kind of they've actually patched things that are like that, like Violet Teacher giving you a minion after you hit it off of Oaken Summons or something like that. So I was assuming that wouldn't work, but I'm assuming you'll get 2/2/1s off of Noble Sacrifice.
Yeah, that definitely.
Which is hilarious and pretty good. And yeah, if you have like a taunt minion to cover for her, and you have redemption, that will be very good.
Yeah, I think that's interesting. So like, I definitely think that this card is good with redemption. Even if it doesn't trigger on itself, it's going to trigger on another minion. And if you just have this out and then you have retribution, you have redemption out, and your opponent kills it, like it comes back and then it's there to do stuff with the other secrets. Like that's awesome. And 3 mana 4/3, I agree that's vulnerable, but like 4 mana 4/3 is playable with silence or something else attached to it. So 3 mana 4/3 is definitely like aggressively statted, really good in a deck that's trying to beat down. I mean, if you can clock your opponent for 4 on turn 4 after playing this, that is sick.
It would be a beating. Yeah,
Yeah.
you can follow it up with True Silver Champion or Blessing of Kings. It doesn't take up the 4 slot in Paladin.
That's great. Yeah, because I mean, there's a lot of good 4 mana cards that Paladin wants to play. Spellbreaker and the class stuff like True Silver or Consecration.
It's often a contested spot in my Paladin deck, so seeing this at 3 gives me more confidence in it.
Yeah, no, I think it's really good. I think it's another one of those like obviously good cards. Just because it's like it's so aggressively statted, and if there's a deck that plays secrets, it's going to play this.
Yeah, and doubling that the one I said, never surrender, is like stand forever. No, it seems like really strong.
Yeah, I mean, in Wild, this could be disgusting with like Avenge.
Oh my, yeah.
Yeah.
That's where it's at.
Yes. Yeah, that's like when I think of Secret Paladin or just Paladin secrets, I always think of Avenge. That's so strong. The card's insane.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure Righteous Protector is rotating out.
Yeah, it is.
So you wouldn't be able to Redemption, Righteous Protector, and Commander Rissa.
Oh yeah, I mean you can't do. Yeah, that'd be like just block your opponent out of playing until like turn 7 or something.
Yeah, that's not a game of Hearthstone anymore.
No, definitely not.
So what'd you pick?
So to go along with you, I'll start with Mysterious Blade, aka Fiery War Axe.
Oh yes, right into Gromash's heart.
Oh yeah, I mean this card's great. It's 2 mana for a 2/2 weapon with Battle Cry. If you control a secret, gain +1 attack. So this is interesting. I think history has told us that 2 mana 2/2 weapon, as much as I want it to be, is not good enough. But 2 mana 3/2 weapon is too good. So this is somewhere in between. So maybe it's good enough.
I mean, that argument is pretty damn valid.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it obviously it depends on deck construction. It depends on the deck you're playing it in. But it looks like they have some secret support for Paladin here, and there's even some stuff in neutral that's good for secrets. So this is this card could be relevant, and if you have like an aggressively bent Paladin deck with a 2 mana 3/2 weapon in it, like that just might be Pirate Warrior again. It's probably not that disgusting, but it'll suck to fight that.
Well, that sounds really good. You're right. But to, I don't know, agree or disagree, but I don't know what I'm saying here by mentioning that Dread Corsair, it sounds awesome.
Oh yeah, is that legal still?
I'm pretty sure it's in Classic.
Oh, that's so stupid. You're right.
So,
oh man,
you would have that and True Silver Champion, which is another really good friend of Dread Corsair. So
yeah,
we could have Pirate Paladin, which sounds like a fun change up, Um, and the neutral, yeah, there's some kind of 2 mana 2/3 that says if you have a battle cry, if you have a secret, it gets +1/+1. So it'd be a 2 mana 3/4 if you played a secret turn one. This is that's a totem golem if you played a secret turn one. The
Yeah.
mysterious blaze, the fiery war axe, pre-nerf if you play a secret turn one. That sounds like a pretty compelling reason to play a secret turn one.
Yeah, so I mean, you might just be willing to stuff your deck with like, two Never Surrender, two Redemption, and two Noble Sacks or something, and like, or and maybe another secret or something. Like, it could be, or Desperate Measures. I don't. I mean, that has Twin Spell. That is like, if you're looking for volume, that's where it's at. But
Hmm.
um, I think you kind of want volume in like the drawing space. You want volume to the extent that it helps you draw more. So something like Desperate Measures doesn't quite fill that same slot. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, this Mysterious Blade seems like a very strong card to me.
I completely agree. I think that Desperate Measures is actually it's playable and potentially good. You do kind of have control over what it'll be because of what secrets you already have out, um, but not a lot of control. Also, I think that Never Surrender can't trigger if you don't have minions.
Oh, that's really interesting. So if you just like never, yeah, wow,
Because
yeah,
competitive spirit doesn't
competitive spirit
happen
didn't.
if you don't have minions.
That's right. That's really interesting. Yeah, so I mean, if that's the case, then Mysterious Blade and that 2/3 are just like fantastic. Never Surrender would be the kind of card you'd like keep in your opening hand.
Exactly. The noble sacrifice, for example, would be still a good keep, but risky if they somehow attacked either with a hero power or something that was a one drop.
Yeah, and I guess you make an interesting point about Desperate Measures in that like in a way this is your way of running like a soft extra copy of some of the secrets in your deck. Like you don't get to control which one it is at all. But you can get access to them more often than you otherwise would have been able to. Also, like a random secret sucks to play around.
It is another huge edge of that card. Your opponent's going to be tearing their hair out about that
Yeah.
nonsense.
Yeah, that's just annoying in basically every class. Paladin secrets aren't as bad as hunter secrets, but they're still annoying. And this gives you like cards like Mysterious Blade and the 2/3 just want you to have a secret out. They don't actually care what it is. So this lets you, a card like Desperate Measures just makes you able to have a secret out more often, like when you want it, and that's really cool. That's interesting. Okay, I'm a little farther up on Desperate Measures than I was.
I'm glad. It's yeah. It's just that I'll take anything turn one, please, and then it's like here's
Yes,
something. Good luck.
right. So the next card I have here is definitely not related at all to what we were talking about and would not go in the deck, but it is Duel with an exclamation point.
All right.
Um, so this card, I like this because it's disruption. So it's 5 mana, epic. A spell. Summon a minion from each player's deck. They fight! Exclamation point. So,
Nice.
um, I mean, it's not like they printed that much support for Big Paladin ever. So I don't think that this will, I don't think that this is going to make that deck happen alone. Maybe they could print something else later that would be good, because this is a way for you to just cheat a minion out of your deck. But it is also a way for you to deny your opponent the opportunity to cheat something out of their deck when they want to.
Mm-hmm.
You could also just completely screw yourself. But, like, Deathlord could do that too. But that card's fantastic. So I think Duel is definitely not Deathlord, but I think it has some potential. Just it needs more support printed for it.
Yeah, I did not think of it as interruption like that, but it very much is doing something that Hecklebot does and Deathlord does
Yeah,
by pulling that minion out and denying its battle cry. Um, though the challenge of the big paladin only having expensive minions in your deck and relying only on the two duel because I don't think there's anything else that does anything like it
right.
left over
There's
in
no like res
standard.
effects.
Yeah, so that seems a little loose, but on the other hand, they've got some good stuff in Shrivala.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Shirvallah is a real card, and it's pretty big. So this could be, I don't know. I don't think that this is going to see play immediately, or maybe even ever. But it's definitely an enabler, and it's worth keeping your eye on because, like, in with the right support, this kind of card could see play.
I mean, I know that if I open at least one of them, I'll be playing two copies of it in like Ysera day one.
Yeah, and Shirvala. I mean, just imagine playing this with Shirvala and like Shirvala just like attacks what they have. You gain a bunch of life and you have a 7/5. That's awesome.
I'm already excited about it. I'm gonna play Prismatic Lens, and
Ooh.
it's gonna be sweet.
Yeah, I think that there were some like meme lists for Big Paladin floating around that had prismatic lens and duel. I think I might have even posted one in our Discord. But
You showed us one for Wild, and it looked
uh
filthy.
oh yeah, that's what you got to do. I need to go look at that deck list again because I like saw it out of the corner of my eye and didn't like really look at it too closely, but I figured you guys would love it.
Yeah, it's completely egregious.
Nice. Yeah, so duel seems like a cool card, and that's why I picked it, not because I think it's particularly amazing. But I do think that we covered a bunch of the other cards that are really good, like Rissa.
Yeah, these secret effects look like they could get an aggressive paladin deck working without Genner Baku.
Yeah, and that's going to be hilarious when people are like, "Yeah, Sod Paladin's gone, even Paladin's gone." They just are still losing to Aggro Paladin.
It's gonna be Pirate Paladin. They're gonna be so butthurt.
Yeah, I'm gonna love that. That's gonna be really good. So next up we have Priest.
Yeah, or maybe Murloc Paladin. There is a pretty cool neutral Murloc, but I don't know if there's any Paladin Murlocs right now with Hydrologist leaving.
Yeah, we don't. We also have the 1 mana 2/1. I guess he's been gone forever. The one in Mean Streets that gives him Murloc in your hand +1/+1. We also don't have Rockpool Hunter.
Yeah, I don't know. It looks like the Shaman is getting all of the Murloc
Murloc
love,
left.
but
Yeah.
we'll talk about that soon. Uh,
Oh yeah, for sure.
so I think I'll start now. Um,
Sure.
with Mass Resurrection, of course. So this is a 9 mana priest spell. It's a rare. It says summon 3 friendly minions that died this game.
Mm.
It's
It's like
very
the Spellstone.
Yes, it's very similar to Lesser Diamond Spellstone when it's been upgraded a bunch of times, at least once specifically, I guess. But it costs 2 more, which is definitely worse. Um, you don't need to upgrade it, which is better. I'm pretty confident it's going to be really good because I've already been playing one of the Rise of the Shadows cards in a Resurrect Priest deck, and it's
Mm.
really, 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 really unfair.
Oh yeah, that one. Sure, that card's awesome.
That one is also known as Archmage Vargoth. He's the
Yeah.
guy that at the end of your turn copies a spell that you played this turn.
Oh yeah, Mass Res with him is great.
Exactly. You have a dead Prophet Valen, a dead Malagos, and a dead Vargoth. You play Mass Resurrection. You get those 3 guys back. You press the green button on the side of the screen, and then you get another Malagos and another Valen and another Vargoth.
Yeah, that's sick.
It seems like this is just a shoe-in to a strong archetype that already exists, and it's just going to get spicier as more spicy minions get printed.
Oh yeah. Are we keeping Cloning Gallery?
Zarek's Cloning Gallery, for sure, that's got to be Boomsday.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it is. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, so that deck's just like around. That's cool.
Yeah, I think we lose Shadow Essence and Eternal Servitude.
Oh no, yeah, we do. That sucks.
So those are bummers, but Mass Resurrection helps, and there might be other ways to pull it off. I haven't given up yet.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that that deck just might look differently, but it might still be around.
It's got the police concerned though.
Oh yeah, no, they heard that. They're like, wait a minute, you guys are trying to play Big Priest?
Wait a minute, Res Priest isn't rotating out.
Oh, you still have the 3 mana thing that clones a minion. That's still around, so you can still do some duplication stuff.
Vivid Nightmare.
That's the one.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, see, there's definitely some action there.
Hmm.
The other card I picked is Unsleeping Soul.
Oh, cool.
This is a 4 mana common priest spell. It says silence a friendly minion, then summon a copy of it.
Hmm.
So, I believe Silence Priest has got some pretty strong stuff going for it. Ancient Watcher is in Classic and is always available, but they're adding to their ranks Arcane Watcher, which I also think is a very good card. It's in neutral in Rise of the Shadows. It's a 3 mana 5/6 that says it can't attack unless you have spell damage.
Mm.
So if you simply play that turn 3 and then turn 4 and Sleeping Soul it, you'll have two 5/6s. And if you play Ancient Watcher, you could have two 4/5s. Just sounds good to me.
Yeah, that seems really good. I mean, this card does look abusable if you just want to take something and beat down with it. Also, like, yeah, I mean that could end up working. I don't know, getting two 5/6s is pretty sick. That's really good.
It seems to also work if you just have a minion with like pretty good stats and you don't mind
Hmm.
losing its effect.
Yeah, definitely. So it seems interesting.
But there's another neutral that has a silence effect that is another reason why I picked this card. I think that deck is getting support.
Yeah, that's really good. And I mean, yeah, like priest decks with a bunch of minions have historically worked a little bit. So, this could be the return of that.
We're losing Duskbreaker, so dreams of Dragon Priest are probably just that.
Yeah. Well, so that card saw surprisingly little play, Dustbreaker.
At the end of the day, yeah.
Yeah, that's shocked. I mean, the reactions to the card is that it was like maybe one of the best cards ever printed. I definitely thought it was really insanely good,
hmm
but just didn't actually see that much play. I guess it needs support.
it was good for a while, but yeah.
Yeah. Um, so the first priest card I have here is Convincing Infiltrator.
Mm,
So this is a 5 mana 2/6 taunt with Death Rattle, destroy a random enemy minion. Um,
rude.
so this is not Obsidian Statue, but this has part of Obsidian Statue, a couple parts actually. So it has taunt. It's got a lot of health, and it has a very very annoying Death Rattle.
hmm
So I think that all of that comes together to make a decent card. This is especially this is potentially very playable in a deck that's cheating it out, maybe as a 1/1 just to get its effect. I know that Wall Priest is a deck right now, and Inner Fire Divine Spirit Priest is always something that's around. So this might be a little too slow for that, but maybe not. It depends really what the deck looks like. If the deck is willing and able to be patient, then it could play a card like this to either stall for time or to kill.
Yeah, it's really tough to play through this card.
Yeah, that's the thing is like it just slows your opponent down so much that even though it costs a little bit more, it could just be fine. Because like imagine they have a bunch of 1/1s, that's kind of when the death rattle's at its worst. Then having a 2/6 is awesome. If they just have a bunch of little guys, this might end up clearing out a couple of them.
hmm
If they have a couple big minions that can easily punch through a 2/6, one of them's gonna die.
That's a good point. Its stats are like not amazing, but like just good enough, I guess.
Yeah, so we'll have to see. This is something you can get off a Stonehill Defender in Wild.
There's also that, but non-standard. Rip.
No, that card's gone. Um, so I think that this is one to keep an eye on. I think even like maybe in a cloning gallery deck, this could be good. I mean, getting a 1/1 copy of this card would just make your opponent's life hell, and getting repeated 1/1 copies would be annoying. But like, it also depends on the res effects that are available. If there are not very many of them, then you'd want to play fewer minions, and this one probably wouldn't make the cut.
I think it's a fair suggestion. Now that you mention it, when I think about playing Mass Resurrection and getting one of these back, I'm pretty happy, and it gives you something you can do earlier in the game, which is often one of the biggest problems.
Yeah, yeah. So I think it does fill at least a couple slots. Turn 5 is kind of slow, but that depends on the aggro decks that are around. If there's nothing blistering fast, then this is definitely going to be good enough.
Absolutely, it's not bad with a Mass Hysteria either. You can kind of guarantee that, like, if yours survives, but they made a huge board, and something would have lived through Mass Hysteria, maybe now because of its effect, that one thing that would have lived will die.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, it seems quite good.
Oh
So
yeah,
the next card I picked is one of their legendaries. I actually think both their legendaries are decent, but I picked the spicier one. So this is Katrina. How do you even say her last name?
Muerta.
Muert? Muerta? Yeah.
Katrina Muerta.
Katrina Muerta. I'll take that. So this is an 8 mana 6/8 with at the end of your turn, summon a friendly minion that died this game. Now this is a cloning gallery card.
Yeah, I actually forgot about that one. That card's insane.
So yeah, if you just imagine pulling this off your mass resurrection, like
Oh
this
yeah.
is this is the kind of card you want to resurrect because it just makes your it makes your resurrect stack up more, and it's something that if they don't answer right away, it's gonna just keep creating more and more of a problem for them.
That I completely forgot about this card. Yeah, this thing is nasty in a lot of different priest decks probably, and but definitely the res ones, just like in the same way as Vargoth, like you said, it'll kind of multiply. Except this thing's actually a threat.
Yes, it's a 6/8. That's huge.
Yeah, this thing can bring back all your big minions. It can bring back your what's the card you said?
Um.
The mask guy? Or
Oh, the convincing infiltrator.
yeah, it can bring back your convincing infiltrators. It can bring back like Isra. For me, it brings back memories of Kel'Thuzad.
Yeah, I mean it seems good.
It's an 8 mana 6/8 that brings your stuff back, and he at least saw some play. But this doesn't require that something died that turn,
Yeah,
which makes it way more versatile. And I'm fairly sure that if she has died and then you resurrect her, she's going to be on her own list.
yeah, that's tight. Wow, that's true. That's extremely dumb. Because like, if you just get her back again, like, oh man, your opponent's life's gonna be terrible.
I mean, I don't see why that's impossible.
Hmm.
If someone could prove that, like, Confessor Palatrus, which is inspire summon a random legendary, can't summon a copy of herself, then I would believe that Muerta can't revive herself, but I'm pretty sure you can do that.
Yeah, if she died, yeah, definitely. So this seems like a really strong card for a Resurrection Priest deck. It ticks all the right boxes.
You're completely right. It's like a 10 out of 10 for Resurrect Priest.
Yeah, the card seems insane. So next up is Rogue.
Absolutely. I know what golden legendary I want. Well, what other one I want now.
Yeah, for sure. Oh man, that would be sick.
Thank you, Bart. I
Um,
somehow like my eyes like glossed over that card entirely.
no, that card's insane. So I think that Rogue got a bunch of really cool tools.
Yeah.
Um, so the first one that I want to start with is a tool. It's Waggle Pick.
All
So
right.
yeah, this is a 4 mana 4/2 weapon with Death Rattle. Return a random friendly minion to your hand. It costs 2 less. Um, so True Silver Champion is a 4 mana 4/2 weapon with Trinket Text, and it sees play. Granted, Rogue's hero power gives it a weapon, but by turn 4, it's a 1/2 weapon is not super amazing, but a 4/2 weapon is a hell of a lot of damage.
It's 8 damage. This is a very good deal.
Yeah, this is. I mean, we've seen lots of 4 mana 4/2 weapons see play in the past. The what's Death Spite is another one. I mean, this is also not Death Spite. That card's crazy, but
Yeah.
this is still really good, and this is more than Trinket Text. So especially because Rogue can actually control when this Death Rattle triggers through their hero power. So like there might be some edge cases where you just want to blow this up a turn early so that you can get something back to your hand and replay it. But
Hmm.
Rogue tends to be able to, they have stuff that does stuff when they have battle cries. They love battle cries because they have combos, and combos are types of battle cries. So this lets you retrigger those, and that's really good. I mean, if any class is going to want to retrigger a minion's come into play effect, it's Rogue.
You nailed it, I think. You picked it. Um, this looks really strong. I also chose this card. It
Yeah.
is True Silver Champion, like you said. Well, it looks like it's gold. Um,
Mm.
and or maybe it's fake gold. So fake gold champion. Um, instead of true silver. But it's got exactly what Rogue usually wants. It's a really good 4 drop. So it's like another check in the box. And yeah, the four mana 4/2 weapons have basically always been anywhere from good to insane.
Yeah, definitely.
So based on history, it looks awesome. Um, I think it's going to be really good. My problem with it, or what I'm afraid of, is that the main way it will be used is like play it, attack you, next turn, play Leroy, attack you with Waggle Pick, play
Yes,
Leroy, attack you.
that is absolutely the card that I forgot to mention now, but that is the card I first thought of when
Yeah.
I was thinking of Waggle Pick. Is just like this is the way to kill your opponent with Leroy Jenkins, and that's like that's a really good place to be if you're like an up and coming Hearthstone card.
Yeah, it sure is. It's done wonders.
Yeah, that is it's startling that Leroy hasn't been rotated to the Hall of Fame.
It's I guess like maybe it's just too much of an emotional thing, and they did nerf it.
That's true. Yeah, but I mean that's I don't know, that hasn't stopped them.
He's definitely still been good in some decks, but I don't think too many.
Yeah, I mean it's certainly not as of late. I think that they've been pretty good about not making him abusable, but who knows? Maybe the pick could be what gets him picked for the Hall of Fame.
Eh.
So next up, I have a card that's actually also pretty good with Waggle Pick, and that's Underbelly Fence.
Mm.
So this is a 2 mana 2/3 with Battle Cry. If you're holding a card from another class, gain +1/+1 and Rush. Um, just I'm pretty much always on the lookout for 2 mana 3/4s because that card, Totem Golem is really good.
It's not bad.
This is not Totem Golem. This is especially not Totem Golem because we don't have Swashbuckler or Hallucinate. But if we can get some cheap ways to get cards in your hand from your opponent's class early, then this card could be really strong.
Absolutely. There is a like a 1 mana rogue spell, I think, that's just get a random card from your opponent's class.
Oh yeah, that's like in basic now or something, or classic, right?
I believe they snuck it into classic.
Yeah, I think it's in classic. To deal with it, to control for all the Hall of Fames.
Yeah.
So I mean, you do have that. Like, it's tough to. I mean, maybe that's enough, but I feel like you still just don't want to play that card. It's too random. It's too inconsistent.
Hmm.
And I think the payoff of just getting like 1/1 stats additional on turn two is maybe not good enough. But who knows? I mean, like a 3/4 with Rush on turn two is crazy.
It is bonkers.
Yeah, so it is quite a huge payoff, and even a little bit beyond turn two, like even up to turn four, that is like a fine card.
That's sort of how I look at it. It doesn't have to be turn 2 to still be really good.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So I think that this is something to keep an eye on. Although it seems like you might have to work a little too hard for it.
Yeah, there's. I think we're losing Blink Foxes. Oh wait, no, is Blink Fox in Witchwood?
That sounds right. I don't know.
Let me
Let's find
check.
out.
Yeah, because that's actually like one of the
Yeah,
best.
it's Witchwood.
Excellent. So that's one of the
Yeah, that's
best
great.
best ways to get away with playing this.
Yeah, the Blink Fox is a fantastic card that I think was like definitely underplayed. So I anticipate that card seeing play at some point in the future.
Ooh, I see what you're saying now. Underbelly Fence is really spicy with Waggle Pick
Oh yeah,
because you can just, if it's got damage on it, do it again for 0, or
yeah,
you can return your Blink Fox back, play it for 1, and then you can have your card.
yeah. That's really good.
That is spicy. You know what else you could do? You could use Underbelly Fence in the same deck as Witch's Cauldron.
That's silly.
Problem solved.
Oh wow, yeah, that's true. That's a neutral card that does it. And that card's seen fringe play, I guess.
It's a very fun card.
Yeah, it's seen play in Molten Core set.
That's oh yeah, Lucas is playing it, right?
Yeah, yeah. I definitely also have it in an Odd Paladin deck.
Nice.
Yep, it's silly. Yeah. So what cards did you pick here? So Waggle pick.
And Underbelly Fence.
Oh, cool. Yeah, those cards are great.
Yeah, we're boring, but there's a lot of cool stuff there.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, Rogue always has some interesting cards. Not always good, but interesting.
Not always good.
So why don't you take us through Shaman here?
Let's start. I would love to. Let's start with Sludge Slurper.
Oh yeah, I picked that card too. It's disgusting.
Yeah, this guy seems like a great design for a Shaman card to sort of match a bunch of the other stuff that they have. It's a
Yeah.
1 mana 2/1. It's got Battle Cry. Add a lackey to your hand. And the lackeys are very good. At some point, we can run through them if you want, but um, lackeys are very good, and they're especially good in like an aggressive deck. And then it's also got Overload 1, which, obviously weakens it, but Shaman, and we've talked about this. We spent a whole episode talking about this. Shaman has been given a lot of cards that are meant to interact with Overload, but
Yes.
then the cards that have Overload are often either not worth it or are too expensive to actually use with the things that work with Overload. This guy, on the other hand, is a 1-mana 2/1. So I think he's going to be like really great for a bunch of different shaman decks because the lackeys are so diverse and powerful. But I could definitely see some strong, aggressive shaman decks. Really being glad to Sludge Slurper turn 1, Lackey turn 2, or maybe even a Murloc deck.
Yeah, this card looked very strong to me. I think that like just you're absolutely right. This is great with like what is it, Thunderdome? What is the card called? Thunderhead or something like that?
Thunderhead, yeah. 4-mana,
Thun
3/5, summon 2/1/1 elementals with Rush whenever you play a card, or whenever you overload a mana crystal.
yeah, so he that I mean, Sledge Surfer is awesome with Mr. Dome over there. Uh and that's really good because that card is Thunderhead's really good.
Yeah,
That card was like good enough for people to kind of twist their deck a little bit in order to fit more overload to trigger him. Because like you trigger him one time, it's already way above rate. Sludge Slurper is a great way to trigger him, but also just like forgetting other Hearthstone cards for a second, this card works with itself really well and is an awesome deal. So yeah, it overloads you for 1 on turn 1, so that means you can't play 2, but the lackeys are all above rate 1 drops.
exactly.
So this is great. Like being able to play 1 mana 2/1 and then an above rate 1 drop is like it's fine. That's a great card. You only spent 1 card to have your first 2 turns worth of plays. That's extremely good. 1 drops that give you a card in your hand have historically been awesome, like all of them.
Yeah,
Uh, so down to Web Spinner being maybe one of the worst, but like Babbling Book being a card that was good. Swashbuckler is a card that's good. Like there's
hmm
tons of examples of those sorts of cards being awesome, and this looks like it'll just fit right in there. And yeah, there's a lot of Murloc synergy um, with Shaman in this set, and there's some existing Murlocs that are like pretty decent. So
hmm
we might see that come together.
yeah. That'd be exciting. This is, I think, one of the best shots Murloc Shaman has ever had.
I agree. Yeah, and they've gotten some interesting ones in the past, but this one I think is just obviously powerful.
For sure.
Yeah.
It's also, Shaman likes to have targets for Evolve or minions to Bloodlust, so
Mm,
it's just got a lot of synergy. Um, the other card in Shaman that I chose is Witch's Brew,
cool.
which is a 2-mana Shaman spell. Restore 4 health, repeatable this turn. So I believe what repeatable this turn means is Echo,
Yeah, I think it's just the unkeyworded version of that.
which is really cool. It's very strange to look at. It's very strange art, and then very strange text, and just a very trippy experience to look at this Hearthstone card.
Mm,
So that's one reason I like it. Um, and it looks like it's perfect in the kind of shaman deck I like, which is a slow, control-y one. You can use this card to gain 20 health if you play it 5 times in one turn with 10 mana, which is like a forbidden healing. It's a lot like a forbidden healing, which is a paladin card that you can divide up. So you can top off your minions that are damaged, top off your own health. Just seems like a great shaman card for control shaman decks to survive into the long game. You'll now be able to hit it off of Hagatha's Hex passive effect. I'm just really happy to see it in Shaman.
it looks strong. Yeah, I mean, especially with Healing Rain rotating, I think that this card is mostly inferior to Healing Rain, but like that card is leaving, so this is potentially something we'll see a lot of that could see a lot of play. I mean, in late game, this could just be Reno Jackson.
That's what I'm talking about. We're gonna be rich,
Yeah,
dude.
Yeah, we will be rich. Yeah, this card seems good. I kind of wrote it off, but I'm convinced. I mean, looking at it now, this is a good Echo card. And yeah, the art is really weird. That looks like a disgusting soup.
Makes me hungry. Uh,
Yeah, and actually, in all honesty, that'd probably be delicious. It looks like it's got, some bones in there. It's got some seafood. Like those eyeballs probably add some flavor. Like I bet that'd be tasty.
I think if I had the spoon, I would probably ladle a bit that doesn't have eyeball in it,
Yeah,
but I would
yes.
totally go for the squid or octopus that's in there. Though it looks like the squid or octopus that's in there is what's operating the spoon, so that
Huh.
that might be the chef. Um,
Yeah, maybe not then.
but I actually figured out the correct flavor text for it is "We're gonna be witch."
Yeah, there we go.
Pretty excited to spam emote my opponents and say that on stream and play this card.
That's very good. That's a good catchphrase.
That's the new plan.
So, the card that I picked, so I definitely picked Sludge Slurper because that card's just insane.
Naturally.
I picked something that goes along with it, and that's Scargill.
Mm.
So, Scargill is a pretty straightforward card. This is 4 mana for a 4/4 Murloc. That's a chunky Murloc. Legendary, your Murlocs cost 1. So,
Spicy.
so I mean, cards that let you cheat on mana are great. This lets you, dump the Murlocs in your hand and just like make a board that's potentially really annoying for your opponent. This is also really good in a world that has Nightmare Amalgam, which is another chunky Murloc. So a
Mm.
1 mana 3/4 is really good, even on turn 5 or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, but this card, the world that I envision is that you play Scargill and then you play Underbelly Angler,
Yeah.
and you just keep jamming Murlocs until you're out of mana.
Oh, because they'll all cost 1, and every time you play one, you get another one.
Yeah, Underbelly Angler is a 2 mana 2/3 Murloc in Shaman in this set, which is after you play a Murloc, add a random Murloc to your hand. That is a good card too.
That is one of the Murlocs I was talking about, in addition to
Yeah.
Scargill, that just like really sticks out as turning up the heat in Shaman for Murlocs. But yeah, I didn't actually put that together. That's just an insane, infallible engine.
Yeah, it's I mean, if like it's probably something you have to do pretty late game, so you have to potentially hold these cards in your hand, which is maybe not what you want to do, but like maybe not. Maybe if you just have a couple mana left over, you get a ton of fish. That's awesome.
I That sounds like it could work. I guess we're losing the guy that lets you discover a Murloc, though.
Yeah. Um we are, and we're also losing the quest. We're also losing Hydrologist. Not that that matters,
I don't think the
but
quest mattered that much either, honestly.
no, I agree with that. I don't think it's mostly saying that as a joke. We're also losing Burlock, which is something that was potentially decent.
Yep, poor Burlock. I played it, but not in standard.
I did too. I played it in standard and then just swapped him out for Glacial Shard because that was what that card was.
It's like, wait a minute.
Right.
Why am I doing this? The
Um
friggin' 2/3. Um, you could also just like play a Murloc and then hit a Scargill off of it, and then be like, ooh, and then
yes,
it's
yes.
it's go time.
For sure. That is absolutely something that can happen. I don't know if this can let you access other classes Murlocs, but if it can't, then it actually makes Scargill more likely, which is awesome.
I believe it can.
That's also cool
Y-
for a different reason.
yeah, that's gonna be fun.
Yeah, for sure. So I think that Murloc Shaman's looking up right now because there's also good, there's good neutral Murlocs. There's the stuff that's in Classic. There's a bunch of them.
Mm-hmm.
Like what is it? The 3 mana 2/3 that gives all your Murlocs +2 health, and then there's of course the Murloc Lord, War Leader. There's the Bluegill Charger guy. So yeah, this could be a deck.
I could see it.
Um, yeah, totally. So what do you say about moving on to Warlock?
I'm down with Gul'dan.
Yeah, so Mr. Gul'dan's got some interesting cards here.
Is it your turn?
It is my turn.
Go ahead.
So the card that I picked, this way we alternate who goes first. The card that I picked is one of the cards is Evil Genius. Evil Genius, all caps. So this is a 2 mana 2/2 common. Battlecry, destroy friendly minion, add 2 random lackeys to your hand. I I like this kind of effect.
Yeah.
It doesn't often come together, but I always want it to. So it's I mean I can't think of anything. There's no carnivorous cube. There's no Nerubian egg. Like none of that exists right now in standard. So this card will almost certainly not see play. But if there's a card like Nerubian egg or even Haunted Creeper, this card could potentially see play.
There's the Scarab Egg. It's a 2 mana 0/3. When it dies, you get 3/1/1s.
That's pretty cool.
It's
I tried to make that work with the thing that destroys a minion and then gives all your minions +1/+1, but like they don't synergize with each other.
it's so obnoxious because I think they're even in
Yeah,
the same set.
yeah, it was heartbreaking when that didn't work. I think I did it in a tavern brawl. It's very sad.
Yeah, I forget what that card does. Maybe I just blotted it out because of that memory.
Yeah,
I think Evil Genius looks great though.
yeah. I mean, for this type of effect, like it. So that's the thing. It needs the right deck. If you're just trying to like Um, if you're trying to play a deck that needs a kill effect, this is it. It's cheap, but I think that this really shines in a deck that can actually make use of the lackeys. So that's like a tempo-oriented kind of Zulok deck, and that needs to care about death rattles or killing your minions in some way. But if you can utilize that synergy, I think that this is a good engine for it. So it's like a solution without a problem right now.
Hmm.
But who knows? Maybe a problem will come around later.
There is Mecharoo,
That's true. That's true. I
and
don't know if that's like.
I think Zoo is just the kind of deck that would really like to have two lackeys. So I could see this immediately going in some kind of Zoo deck.
Yeah, that could. I mean, potentially. Like this is giving you minions in your hand, which is pretty cool. Cheap minions, no less. So that's awesome. Like that does have that going for it, and they're good minions.
Cheap ones, no less.
So that's pretty awesome. Um, the next card I have here is another wacky synergistic card that doesn't necessarily have anything going for it, which is Darkest Hour.
Oh my.
Yes, so this is a 6 mana spell. Destroy all friendly minions. All friendly minions.
So far,
each
so
one.
good.
We're looking great so far. For each one, summon a random minion from your deck. So the way the way I envision this card working is that you play Rafam Scheme, which is 3 mana, summon a 1/1/1 imp, upgrades each turn. You get a bunch of imps. Then you play Darkest Hour, and you just get like your Malagoses and shit, and then blow your opponent's face up.
Oh my god, let's do it.
So again, I don't know if there's actually cards to work with this like at all, but yeah, I don't know. Who knows? Let's go.
All you need to do is draw a bunch of your deck to get these specific cards, and draw a bunch of your deck waiting for turn 9, and then make sure there's a bunch of specific cards still in your deck.
Yeah, sounds great.
Easy enough.
Yeah, I mean, in all honesty, Darkest Hour will probably just not be the kind of deck that you want, the kind of card you want to play, but it's cool. So I wanted to talk about it.
I love it. I mean, I didn't think of that specific combo, and it does sound exciting. But
It sounds terrible and very, very exciting.
part of the problem, I guess, is you don't have a deck full of like good minions you would want to summon necessarily by the time you can pull this off. And if you do and they answer them, now you might have like nothing in your deck.
Oh yeah, sure.
I guess maybe that's not the right way to think of it, but there's not going to be any Doomguard for sure.
Yeah, I mean that could be possibly part of the reason why they rotated it.
Yeah, maybe they had this card in mind for a while, right?
Yeah.
But on the other hand, there is Archville and Rafam. He would make your entire deck into legendary minions.
Oh yeah, that would be very dumb and very funny.
But it'd also make your whole hand into legendary minions, so you wouldn't have a Darkest Hour.
Yeah, you need a legendary minion that can like discover Darkest Hour or something, give it to you. Yeah, so this
Easy.
seems it's also 6 mana. That's pretty expensive for killing your entire board. It's at least as it replaces the board. It's you can think of this as like a very expensive evolve.
Or you can think of it as a way to like somehow win faster with Mechathon.
Yeah, like you can think of it as 100 dust that you can use to craft the cards you need to make Mechathon. Mechathon Priest.
I mean, Mechathon Warlock wasn't bad, but I don't know if Darkest Hour fits in it.
No, I was thinking about that too. I don't think it does. I think it's like I think it's like not even a solution with a problem. With its in search of a problem. I think it's like another problem in search of another problem. It's just not it's not gonna get there, but it's very funny.
I agree. I'm excited to cheat out some Malagos.
Oh yeah. So what did you pick here?
For one, I've got Aranasi Brood Mother. This is a 6 mana 4/6 demon with taunt.
Mm.
When you draw this, restore 4 health to your hero.
I didn't see that's a demon. That makes it a lot better.
Yeah, it's very, very, very cool card. So there's only a couple of on-draw effects in Hearthstone in the past. There's a Mage Mech 7/7 legendary. Deals 2 to everything when you draw it. And there's also a warrior minion. This is 6/7 that when you draw it deals 1 to your guys. But those were like definitely not played. And definitely not common. But there's actually a couple of cards that have on-draw effects in this set, and I think having multiple of them makes all of them better. So that's one of the reasons I'm more excited for this one. Um, and yeah, it looks like it could just be really good in some kind of control deck.
Mm.
Warlock will often have 4 damage on them because of hero power. It's not. It would definitely be different in a different class that can't guarantee they have damage on them. Um, and also, you draw a lot, so it seems to just synergize perfectly with Warlock. Now, the stats are 6 mana 4/6, which isn't great, but on the other hand, it's not awful. It's really only 1 mana over, and it could really slow down an opponent. If you just have 2 of them in your deck, you're getting 8 extra health, and you don't need to pay mana to get that part.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. It's also really good with Gul'dan, even though it's rotating.
Yeah, the whole time I was talking about it, I wanted to mention Gul'dan, but I couldn't.
Yeah, it is I mean it's clear why they didn't print it earlier. This is like, this is exactly the kind of card you want with Gul'dan, and this would have been like a nightmare in even Warlock.
Absolutely, that would have been really annoying.
Yeah. But yeah, still cool. I mean, I totally agree with everything you said. I think it's like just a little bit above rate, but Warlock is a class that's willing to work a little harder to gain health, and they lost like their best health gaining options, so this could be enough.
Yeah, they're definitely gonna need to shore that up somehow. This might be the
Mm.
way. The other card I picked is Inferno.
I love it.
Really cool 3 mana spell. It says give your demons +1 attack, deal 1 damage to all enemy minions.
If this is like if there's a Demon Zoo deck, this card is good in that deck.
Guaranteed, right?
Yeah.
It's gonna provide a permanent buff to your demons, which you usually have a sort of more of an abundance of than like one fat one, or at least in the demon decks that we've seen. There's also Rafam Scheme and other cards that summon multiple 1/1 imps, so that kind of give your demons +1 attack effect versus give a demon +4 attack. This is, I think, better. And then dealing 1 damage to your opponent's board is really good.
Hmm.
Fan of Knives is a great card that's gotten played all the time. Just getting that effect for free on top of this buff, essentially, is really nice. You could argue that, you should just have Blood Mage Thalnos in your deck just for the off chance it works with this. Um, I'm thinking that it's not necessarily good right now if there's not enough demons, but it looks like a really good card, and I just really like it.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. I mean, it's like um, I think it's quite a bit weaker than Maelstrom Portal, but I think Maelstrom Portal was like insane. So I think there's still room below Maelstrom Portal, you know.
Yeah,
Um, and this is like yeah, in the right deck that can get a bunch of like they can capitalize on that first line of text. Like this could be very strong. I mean, this could be the thing that like just does a ton of face damage to your opponent and clears out their board. So like really, really just puts a lot of pressure on them.
absolutely. It's a really swingy card because it'll just really help you clear their board. If you've got minions and you deal with that one damage to all their stuff, you'll probably be able to finish them off, and then, like you said, get some face damage in there.
Yeah, it seems good. Also, this is like minion buffs are not something that Warlock comes along pretty easily. So this is pretty cool that like they have access to it.
That's true.
Yeah, that's not something their class is typically good at.
They're definitely not good at it with some cards, like that one mana thing we can't remember.
Yes, that one.
Shall remain nameless.
Yeah, I don't know what it's called.
Let's keep it that way and move on to Warrior.
Yep, for sure.
I forgot whose turn it is.
It's yours.
That's so great. I'm pretty stoked about it. So, one card I really like is the friggin' Omega. No. Omega Devastator.
Oh my God, this card. When I like read it, I had to read it like a couple times, but then when I like really read it, this card's insane.
It's a Squatcha, is what it
Oh yeah.
is. So, Omega Devastator is a 4 mana, 4/5 mech in Warrior, and it's got Battle Cry. If you have 10 mana crystals, deal 10 damage to a minion.
Oh my God.
So 10 damage is often enough. It doesn't kill Ysera, but it usually gets the job done. And it's also a Chillwind Yeti. So
Yeah.
this has got a lot going for it. And then when you really break it down, you notice it's perfect for Warrior. Warrior wants to be able to do stuff early on if it has to slow down their opponent, and a nice, efficient, or maybe a really nice, really efficient minion like a Chillwind Yeti is going to do that perfectly. And then once you hit 10 mana, which you're going to often be trying to do in Warrior decks, it also gives you the value of a removal spell, which is exactly the other thing you would want to have at that point in the game.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think that like this is aggressively statted. Chillwind Yeti is a really good stat line. Basically, all it needs is trinket text for it to be playable, and this is far more than trinket text. This is like this is just a legit removal spell late game. This is basically kill anything on a 4 or 5 body. And like if you're trying to play that card on turn 10 or whatever, that's amazing. You still have 6 mana left over to like armor up or draw some cards or put on a weapon or something. This card looks like it's definitely good. It's also a mech which synergizes with the Doctor Boom hero, so it could even have Rush.
Exactly. Another huge bonus to it is the synergy with Doctor Boom and the fact that you can discover it off of your Omega Assembly, which guess how many mana crystals you almost always have when you play that card.
Yeah, that's true. That's really good.
So I
10.
Yeah, the magic number is it's not 4.
No.
The all of that put together, I think, just makes this a great card.
Yeah, that was the card I picked as well. I think it's fantastic.
Pretty undeniable. And then, of course, the other card I picked is the Boom Reaver.
Ooh.
The Boom Reaver is a 10 mana 7/9 mech with Battle Cry. Summon a copy of a minion in your deck. Give it Rush.
Yeah, I picked this card too. I think it's fantastic.
You did? Oh, I'm excited. I actually don't really think it's fantastic, but
Okay.
I think it's really cool and it looks really fun. It does the kind of thing that looks really fun. Summon a giant minion, and it kind of shores up the issues with trying to do that. Normally, one of the biggest issues with just like yanking out a Ysera or some other large minion, a Malagos, is that it can't immediately do anything. But this guy is nice enough to hook it up with Rush.
So part of the reason why I think I think fantastic, certainly understand. Part of the reason why I think it's good is that this might not be something you craft and put in your deck, but this is something that you might pull off that Discover spell.
True.
At the point of the game you can play it. It's also something that like it's going to pull a minion out of your deck. Maybe you have some big stuff in your deck because you're playing some kind of like stupid big warrior deck. Or maybe you're just playing like a control deck. You happen to get this off a Discover, and you have Doctor Boom equipped. So it has Rush itself because it's also a mech.
That's a ton of damage right there.
Yeah, so this is something that like could potentially be really swingy that you didn't see coming just off a Discover card, even though it's not something you put in your deck.
Yeah, for sure. Either the Omega Assembly or Dr. Boom's Hero Power.
Yeah. But mostly I think I selected this card too because I didn't really feel too compelled by any of the other ones.
That is a sad state, but I believe I agree with you. Yeah, these warrior cards look kinda not that exciting.
Yeah, that's we've seen that before. I mean, it's a shame because there's this bomb mechanic, but like I think it needs more support than what it was given. And like Blastmaster Boom's pretty cool. But on the other hand, I feel like it's a card like Doctor Boom is so powerful, and I feel like if Doctor Boom's a class card, it's okay. So maybe they can add more bomb support, but uh, I could see why like them making Blastmaster Boom is like an indicator that they might not add more bomb support. I don't know.
Yeah, I have no idea. It doesn't look like there's enough bomb
No,
support
for
right
sure.
now, though. There's only, I think, 3 cards total, 2 in this set, and none of them are even that good. So that doesn't seem like the way to go in Warrior, sadly. And a
Nope.
bunch of the other stuff just seems kind of silly and dumb. Though, one thing I really like about this legendary, the Boom Reaver, and Dimensional Ripper, which is a 10 mana spell that does something similar to the Boom Reaver. It summons 2 copies instead of one of a minion in your deck. Doesn't give them Rush, so it's not exactly the same, but it is 10 mana. Um, so they summon copies. That's what I love. That it doesn't actually
Mm,
take it out of your deck, so you can kind of hit the same one multiple times, and it doesn't thin your deck and bring you closer to fatiguing. That was kind of one of the things that was lame about Recruit Warriors. That there was really no way you were playing the fatigue game anymore at that point.
yeah, that's true. And like that's kind of it's nice because that's true. Dimensional Ripper lets you kind of play double duty. It's a 10 mana card, so that's a lot worse. But it's also getting you 2 copies, so it's potentially good if you have a big enough, monster in there.
I guess if you
Um,
get, I mean, if you hit Ziliax off that, that's probably good enough.
yeah, that's pretty good. But yeah, I mean, seems like Warrior didn't get a whole lot of really amazing stuff here. Boom Scheme is maybe good. Gain 1 armor upgrades each turn, and like some kind of super control warrior. But who knows? That also looks slowish.
Yeah, I'm not sure how to feel about that card.
Yeah. So let's move into neutrals here.
All right, so this is the big chunk. This is the fun part.
Oh my God, yeah. There's a lot. It's always hard to pick the right ones. So let's alternate here. So I'll start off with one that we talked about, which is Hench Clan Hag. So this
Yeah,
is a 4 mana 3/3 with Battle Cry. Summon 2/1/1 amalgams with all minion types. That is better than Chillwind Yeti.
that's true. That's a
Stat
4 mana
total
5
stats.
5.
Yeah, so 4 mana 5/5 is passing the vanilla test. I mean, it's distributed in an annoying way because 3/3 isn't particularly large and 1/1 is almost too small. But they're also amalgams. So those things are murlocs, they're mechs, they're whatever you need it to. They're demons. They're anything you dream them of. They are that.
That sounds like it could be really good with Inferno.
Yeah, so yeah, potentially. I mean, it also seems like this is good in a Shaman Murloc deck or something. This is like
Yeah,
amalgams are really interesting because tribal is pretty strong in Hearthstone.
that's fascinating. I guess they're also dragons, though, for the most part, that stuff needs to be in your hand.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, the dragons on the board almost never matter.
I really like that card. That's
Yeah,
got a lot of potential.
yeah. I think that this is similar to it was another card that you liked a lot. The 4 mana 2/4 that summon the 2/1/1 skeletons.
Oh yeah, something Necromancer. I was looking at that and Saronite Chain Gang, and I did the math. I was like, these both beat Chillwind Yeti, but I think the 2/4 with the 2/1/1s is going to be the one that really sees play, and people will still play Saronite Chain Gang, but not as much.
Well, I think Henchclan Hag is just a better version of that card.
I think you're right. The
Yeah.
stats are actually probably better, and then you got the fact that they're every minion type, which is like really sweet.
Yeah, I think it's just a good, obviously good card. But it probably just won't see play because I said that.
Hench Clan Hag. All right.
Yeah.
Uh, my turn?
Yeah.
So my first pick is Arcane Watcher.
Oh yeah, we talked about this one.
Already mentioned this one. It is a 3 mana 5/6, and it cannot attack unless you have spell damage. The stats on this thing are ridiculous.
Mm.
Muy nonsenso. It's like crazy to get a 5/6 for 3. Like Pit Fighter is 5 mana. So you're cheating this out really early, and the thing about it is, even if your opponent is afraid you're gonna play spell damage, it's still a 5/6. So if they want to kill it, they still have to somehow kill a 5/6. So on the defense, it's amazing. If you can give it taunt, that's still really good. But if you can silence it, you can also just start attacking with it without spell damage. It's also pretty easy to get some spell damage by just throwing a Blood Mage Thalnos in your deck. So I think priests will start running some Arcane Watchers and some Silence effects and a Blood Mage Thalnos and beat people down with this guy.
Yeah, it seems very good. I mean, this is like, we've seen Ancient Watchers he play in the past, and this is very similar. Except it's actually a little easier to activate. So, that could be enough.
It has synergy with Ratcatcher. That's a 3 mana 2/2 rush. And it's got Battle Cry, destroy a friendly minion, and gain attack and health equal to its attack and health.
Mm. Yeah, definitely.
So it could just come down turn 6. Well, you could just play Arcane Watcher turn 3 and then Ratcatcher turn 4. It'd be a 7/8 rush.
That's huge.
It's not bad.
Oh yeah. So, one card I picked here is Underbelly Ooze.
Underbelly Ooze. Oh wait, that card has some familiar text if I remember correctly.
Oh yes, it does. I had to talk about it. So this is a 7 mana 3/5 with after this minion survives damage, summon a copy of it. So this is the Grim Patron Ooze.
The Grim Ooze.
I mean, Grim Patron was meta defining. Granted, that was also when Warsong Commander was around, so this is not going to be doing any OTKs from hand. Certainly not 7 mana, but it's still, even when Warsong Commander was nerfed, the Patron deck was good enough. So if I don't know, I mean, 7 mana is a lot. That's probably too much, but this is a very strong effect, and also a 3/5 is a very different beast than a 3/3 when it comes to this effect.
Mm-hmm.
So even just copying this thing one time could be the end of game for your opponent if they can't easily deal with it.
Hard to start up, but it sounds like it's harder to stop maybe because of the extra health.
Yeah, I mean, one deck that was very popular in the Patron era was Control Warlock of some kind. I think it was Reno, and I think that's probably entirely because of Hellfire. So Hellfire just shut down the patrons. Hellfire is still around, but it does not shut down these oozes.
Not at all. It's just going to make more of them.
Yeah.
I think you were right. I think there was Reno Warlock, and that was like the Warlock deck, but it didn't have a great game against Patron, and someone came up with like all the Wrath effects and minions with big butts deck. And it was sort of like halfway between Zoo and a control deck, but it was just really good because it was really good at clearing the board and killing everybody's Grim Patrons, and being really good at clearing the board is really good against a lot of stuff. But that sort of like popped up.
Yeah, so this is so that was an interesting time, but that was it was an interesting time that was marked by a powerful effect, and this is that effect again. So it's a card that's worth keeping your eye on.
Absolutely, yeah. There's no ignoring it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so the next card I have selected goes perfectly with the first card I have selected because I'm just such a planner. Dalaran Librarian. It's a 2 mana 2/3 Battle Cry, silence adjacent minions.
Yeah, this is what you want in that deck.
It is so perfect for some kind of silence priest deck. You can use it to silence multiple minions, which is handy. It's also just a 2 mana 2/3, that's a great deal.
Yeah.
I could even see it being used in other aggressive decks. Like I mentioned, the synergy with Arcane Watcher and Ratcatcher. There's also synergy with Arcane or with Ancient Watcher and Ratcatcher, and Ancient Watcher and Dalaran Librarian. There's a couple other Warlock minions that are actually like sort of priced to move, but they have an effect that makes them bad, right?
Mm. Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Unlicensed Apothecary, though I guess that card's not in standard. But something like that. So I could see the Librarian being in a couple of decks. It looks pretty juicy.
It does look like a real card. I do agree with you. I mean, like this is because we've seen a couple cards now that like you want to just silence and go to town with. So this is a good enabler for that. And 2 mana 2/3 with some kind of text that synergizes with silence minions is something we've seen before in the form of Sun Fury Protector.
Sun Fury.
Is that what the card's called? It's the 2 mana 2/3 that gives adjacent minions taunt.
Oh yeah. No, I always forget the name of that card. I always think it's like Stoic Defender or something.
Yeah, I didn't remember it, and then I just said it, and then I remembered it. So
Good job, dude.
thank you. It was my brain works like that, I guess.
That's amazing. I wish I could remember the name of Stoic Defender.
Yeah, same. But Dalaran Librarian does seem sick.
And finally, there's a Librarian that silences.
Yeah, that's also pretty cool. We've needed that for a while.
It was a very inappropriate non-inclusion.
Yeah, I agree with that. That is a good flavor win.
So what do you got for us?
So my next one is also 2 mana common, and that's Sunreaver Spy. So this is a card that I had alluded to earlier. It is a 2 mana 2/3 battle cry. If you control a secret, gain +1/+1. This is Totem Golem.
Oh my, yes.
Yeah, this is if there's a Secret Paladin deck, this card's going to be in it, and people are going to hate it.
Yeah, just this coming down turn to every game as a 3/4.
And just like so, think about this. Like you're playing this deck, you have the Weapon and Sunreaver Spy, which are both cards that you want to have a secret for. You want to have a secret in your hand for both of those cards. You want to play a secret turn one. So like building a deck with just hoping to have that in your opening hand with a secret, like becomes a lot more possible because you have two targets for it that will, you have two payoffs for having a secret in your opening hand as opposed to just one payoff. So it's like that's awesome. And that's in addition to, all the other good cards that are probably going to be in the deck.
Yeah, with just the Weapon or this card, it would have been like typical Hearthstone support
Yeah,
or
right.
something. But now it's like, oh, hey, they might be serious about this.
Yeah, it could be enough. I mean, we need to see what the rest of the deck looks like. We need to see like whether there's actually, enough aggressive minions for it. But who knows? It could be really good.
I think it's got a lot of potential.
I think so too. It seems really strong.
So strong.
All right. What about you?
I've got another library-related card. This might actually be my favorite card in the set. It's called Archivist Elysiana. It's an 8 mana, 7/7 legendary. With Battle Cry, discover 5 cards. Replace your deck with 2 copies of each. Now, one might be wondering, do we get copies of those cards in our hand? And it's Hearthstone, so there's literally no way of knowing. But looking at the templating on other cards, you probably don't.
Yeah, probably not.
When you discover a card and then do something with it, it usually only does that thing with it besides, and instead of adding it to your hand. There's like Zabel Flog's Crown or Zazarog's Crown. It's a 3 mana treasure you can get from the treasure chest that Marin creates. It says discover a legendary minion, summon 2 copies of it. So you don't get a copy in your hand when you play that. So Archivist Elysiana probably does not hook you up with 5 cards in your hand, which is a bummer. On the other hand, she can put 10 cards in your deck. Who could do that?
Very strong. Yeah, I think that's a really awesome point. That like if you're trying to fatigue your opponent, this is the kind of card you want.
It looks exactly. Thank you just summed up my exact love for it. It looks like the perfect card for a fatigue deck, and I kind of want to play fatigue in every class. And this looks like it might be the way. Like her and Shutterwalk could be really good friends.
Oh my
Um,
god, that's hilarious.
and like every deck can actually use her and Brewmaster.
Yeah, that's true. Wow, that's really stupid.
So, I mean, it's like a really slow thing to play an 8 mana 7/7, not get anything out of it immediately, and you'll be discovering the 5 cards. Discover is good, but you're going to be picking from like Elven Archer and, you know, Silver, the 1/4 Taunt Silverback, whatever it's called, Patriarch, and,
Yeah,
you know,
ancient mage.
so yeah, exactly. So it's not going to necessarily be as amazing as like the Golden Monkey or something like that, giving you a bunch of stuff you would really be happy with. But I like a deck that would just be happy with stuff. Uh,
Right.
and
It is
and
a miserable way to beat your opponent.
it's which is exactly what I want to do.
Right, exactly. Yeah, so I see that. That's interesting. I like my eyes gloss right over this card, but I mean, adding 10 cards to your deck is potentially powerful in the right shell.
Very powerful. I mean, it probably would suck in most decks that I'm going to try it in,
Mm,
but it looks like it could be like really good in Fatigue Warrior, for example.
yeah, for sure. Um, so the next card that I picked is a card that I mentioned earlier, which is Unseen Saboteur. So
Hmm.
this is a 6 mana 5/6 with Battle Cry. Your opponent casts a random spell from their hand. Target's chosen randomly. So on its face, this looks like, okay, you're not going to snipe their best spell that's going to like win them the game. But maybe you will, depending on what their deck looks like.
Hmm.
And, depending on the situation of the game, like you could really screw up a combo that they have. Like maybe it's a Divine Spirit Interspire Priest, which is like maybe not running that many spells. Though I guess they don't have Shadow Visions anymore, so they might be willing to run more, but maybe they're not. And you snag one of those and just like set them back the entire game. Um,
Mm.
you know, this you could or imagine you just snipe a removal spell from your opponent and it hits one of their minions. Or it hits one of your minions and it doesn't kill it or something. Like
Ooh,
you basically just 2-for-1 them there. Even if the spell goes into thin air and just doesn't do anything, you've 2-for-1 them because they're down a card and you're up a minion.
that
So
is spicy.
this is like I feel like there's obviously a ton of variance on this card. Maybe even too much variance, but I really do feel like the floor is there. I feel like that this is disruptive. It's like, the closest we're gonna get to Thoughtseize in Hearthstone. So
Yeah, wow. I didn't think of the impact it would have on removal. That's very, very appealing.
yeah, and I mean that's not even thinking about Christmas Land where like their removal spell gets cast on their own minion. Like they just lost a minion, they lost a card, you gain a minion. That's a 3-for-1.
What if they have like a huge board and you play it and they have a Twisting Nether?
Yeah, or like a Shrink Ray or something, or Mass Hysteria. Like or what if they haven't played any minions? They haven't killed any minions yet, and you snipe their resurrection spell.
Bada boom. That's the plan.
Yeah. So this card, I think, can keep a lot of different decks in check. I think it's like really awesome against a control deck that's really depending on timing its spells at the right time. Um, just like playing them at the right moment to get max value so that they can win. They can do that many times over the course of the game. Your mistakes are really amplified in that kind of deck, and this one just forces them to make a crucial error most of the time. Sometimes it'll also just screw you.
Man, just knowing that people are playing this is gonna really change things around.
Yeah, so it seems potentially strong and disruptive in the right shell. In a shell that can like spare a little bit to actually deal with the fact that this could go wrong. Or in the right metagame.
Yeah, he's prepared to survive some removal though. He's pretty good stats.
You know what he's good for? He's a good so this is fascinating. He's really good in that like the kind of card you want in a sideboard, which is a lot like the new tournament format they made. And they actually made a bunch of disruptive cards like that.
Hmm.
So that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, specialist. Maybe it's not a coincidence.
Mm. Yeah, almost certainly not. Because this is totally like a sideboard type card, and I guess if they have a sideboarding format, then that makes sense.
Yeah, like if you know they are planning to like Mechathon Cataclysm, you can play this guy.
Oh my god, imagine getting a Cataclysm with this. That's on the bingo sheet for sure.
Oh man, I'm excited for that.
Yeah, that's really funny. And that card rotated out of standard, right?
Cataclysm, I guess it might have. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. I didn't really pay that much attention to it. Although I think I picked it during our set review when it came out.
I think you did, and it
Yeah.
wound up coming through for sure with Mechathon.
Oh yeah, that's pretty sick.
That last minute, like, oh, I'm right. I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure it's a bunch of kobolds getting just torched,
mm,
which makes me think it's kobolds and catacombs.
that makes sense. Also, everyone's happy to see the kobolds get annihilated.
Yeah, I mean they're really annoying.
They brought us Corridor Creeper.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah. All right. So what'd you pick here?
Yes. So, my fourth neutral card is Proud Defender.
Oh yeah, that card looks strong.
He looks very strong. It's a 4 mana 2/6 with taunt. He's got 2 attack while you have no other minions. So if he's flying solo, he's a 4 mana 4/6 taunt.
That's really good.
It is huge stats, my boy. It's bigger than a Chillwind Yeti. It's got taunt. I think control decks are just going to be stoked to throw this in, maybe even some mid-range decks, but I think control decks are going to be very happy with this.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, that is if you're playing a minion like deck with lots of spells in it, like this is totally the card you want. This just makes your aggro playing opponent's life horrendous because it kills every one of their minions and it kills like multiple.
And it's going to have the attack on the offense. It's sort of I don't know if it will live up to being called the new Tar Creeper, but there's definitely some similarities there.
Oh yeah, that's true for sure. Yeah, I don't think it's nearly as versatile as Tar Creeper. But I do think I think that, Tar Creeper you just play in a tempo deck. But you also want to play it in like a slower control deck, and I feel like this card would go well in those two.
Yeah, this is really more about the latter than Tar Creeper, which just worked in almost everything.
Yeah. But I guess the floor of like a 4 mana 2/6 taunt, that's also not like horrific. We've seen that work with trinket text before.
Yeah, it's a Stegodon.
Yep. So this is that is good, and that's certainly more than trinket text. So I like that card a lot.
Yeah, I think it's going to be seeing some play.
Yeah, definitely. So the next card I have is like I guess this is cheating. I have Archmage Vargoth.
Yeah, it's a card that's already out, so
Yeah, it's already out. We know it's wrecking people. We mentioned it. So 4 mana 2/6 with you the end of turn, cast a spell, you cast this turn. It's good. You play it with resurrect spells, and your opponent cries a lot, and they rage about it and make posts. You go into wild, you play it with token summons, or you can actually just do that in standard for the next couple of days. You should do that. Yeah, it's stupid and good.
it is insane. I could speak from personal experience on this one.
Yeah, I booted up Hearthstone on the day where this became playable, and like I don't know, I was like, oh okay, Mara and the Fox, I'm gonna have fun never seeing that, and then I just got like rolled by somebody playing Cloning Gallery, and that was
Yeah,
that.
it's insane with Cloning Gallery actually.
Yeah, it's very good in that deck. And when they cast the Spellstone on me, and then it got cast again, I was super sad, and then I got obliterated by Mind Blast.
You can have some filthy turns with that.
Yep.
Now, Vargoth just is perfect.
Oh yeah, very funny, very good.
I don't know what he's going to be doing if he's in any other decks, because without Oaken Summons, he's not going to be nearly as awesome in Druid.
Mm.
But, if he survives a duel, do it again.
That's really funny.
So, who knows?
Yeah. Oh
Uh,
yeah, he definitely goes in that deck.
that would be friggin' hilarious.
Yeah.
So I shall reveal my final card. Um, this one, I'm, it's maybe really bad,
Yeah, sure.
but I kind of think it's pretty great.
Okay.
It's called Potion Vendor. It's a 1 mana 1/1 common with Battle Cry, restore 2 health to all friendly characters.
That is interesting.
So it's got a lot of potential. because it can restore health to multiple minions and yourself, and it'll always heal yourself. On the other hand, it's a 1/1, and it's only 2 health. So, is that really good enough? I I'm thinking that it's gonna be really good in a few priest decks
Mm.
because they've got Northshire Cleric.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So I think that because of that one specific card, it's got this really sweet utility, and it'll probably see play in a few of those decks just for that reason. They also have like some tricks for drawing 1-cost minions. So there's also Witchwood Piper, which can get this, or the Cleric, so you can kind of consistently pull that combo off and draw a
Yeah,
ton of
yeah.
cards, which has a lot of potential with like Mechathon or something like that, or just other combos or other strategies. Um, but of course, my heart really wants it to work in Druid to bring this full circle back to the first card I
Oh,
picked.
sure. Yeah, with the stag.
It's got yeah, there's the stag. So if you play this, and heal a 1/2 up to from 1/1 to 1/2, and heal yourself and heal another 1/2, like from your Dreamway Guardians. That's 4 health right there. Um, but specifically Life Weaver, the one that says whenever you restore health, add a random Druid spell to your hand. You
Oh
can just
yeah.
get like 3 or 4 spells off of your potion vendor.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty serious.
It's also kind of, if not very magical Christmas landy, but it's only 4 mana, so we'll see. But
Definitely.
I've
Yeah, it's
I've I've got some confidence in Potion Vendor.
it seems potentially really good.
I'd be willing to risk being wrong on this one and say it's good.
Yeah. I mean, it seems we'll see. Like the stupid fungus that restores health saw play. I mean, granted it saw play in like Heal Zoo, but I don't know. I mean, that also costs 3 and it was a 3/3. I feel like one on the like 1 mana for that effect is a lot better.
Oh yeah, you're right. It did see play in that deck though. Where it was mainly for the Happy Ghoul,
Yeah, of course.
so we're losing that. But we'll still have Light Warden.
That is true. We will have that.
This is pretty spicy with that card.
Yeah, we could see like the Light Warden, Northstar Cleric, Potion Vendor, 1 mana priest deck.
Or the Light Warden Potion Vendor Life Weaver Druid deck.
So this is interesting with Arcane Fletcher, the Hunter card. The 4 mana 3/3. Whenever you play a 1-cost minion, draw a spell from your deck.
Mm.
I don't know if you're trying to play some kind of really stupid deck that's trying to like snipe a spell out. That's a utility 1 mana minion to play. That deck almost certainly will not come together, but who knows?
I mean, I'm in.
Yeah, same here.
You just, have a couple 1-cost minions in your hand and the Fletcher, and then you snag your rapid fires, and then Malagos win.
Yeah, go to town. Sounds absolutely sick. So what do you think about calling it there for our set review light?
Sounds good to me, dude.
Yeah. So yeah, we're both looking forward to the set. It is dropping, I guess, tomorrow relative to when we're recording this, so in less than 24 hours. Um,
Yeah.
we'll have to see about let's see about this. Anyway,
we still got it done beforehand.
we did.
Though I'm still like, I'm so certain I'm so wrong about everything, so that's just making me that much more anticipated and stoked for when it finally gets here.
Yeah, definitely. I'm pretty excited for it. It should be really fun.
Oh yeah.
But definitely, when you guys start playing the set and you want to tell us how wrong we are, tweet at us. Just hit us up on Twitter. Berate us. Tell us we misevaluated some card. We can't believe we didn't talk about a particular card. Like that's definitely what you should do.
Call us
Please, actually,
virgins.
yeah, definitely do that. Please do that. Uh, Unironically though, just hit us up on Twitter and do all that. You can also hit us up on Facebook if you're so inclined. If you want to send us some sick minions memes or something, Facebook is definitely the place to do that. You can find all of our content to rage at. You can listen to it again on iTunes if you're on an Android. at which point you're getting it from Google Play, or if you're on an iPhone, you can go and steal your friend's Android and get us on Google Play and listen to it again, so that you can get mad and send us the things on Twitter.
Yeah, make sure you get every mistake we make. Like
Y-
when Bart called swashbuckler 2 times.
Did I really do that? Oh yeah, I did call it Swashbuckler.
You also
No, I
called
call it Swash.
hallucination hallucinate.
All right, that's fine. I was close.
I'm just saving our viewers the effort.
Yeah, I mean, chances are they'll snap off those tweets as soon as they hear it, though. But who knows? Maybe they're listening to it in reverse.
Yeah, the moment they hear it, they'll just can't like close the window, go to Twitter. You idiots!
Please do that.
Except that one person who was obviously listening to the podcast backwards.
Yeah, there's maybe someone like that. Maybe some bot or something. So, you can, I don't know, find all our stuff on lasternhs.com.
Yeah, the SoundCloud, Podbean as well, I think.
Yeah,
YouTube, we got all our stuff on YouTube.
it's true. We have places you can find our stuff. We also have a spoiler on our website, which I actually used while recording this and also to do my card evaluation. I feel like everything was laid out in such a way that I could see all the cards from one class on my screen at one time without clicking a button. I can go to the next class. That's all I want.
See, I'm really glad you appreciate that. That's all we're going for here at lastturnhs.com is the cards.
That's right.
You can go to our website and make your own decisions. You can actually make comments on lastturnhs.com as well. So if you don't want to go to Twitter or Facebook, you can tell us there. We post on Instagram, and we posted almost every card in the set, so you can comment on them there as well. If you want to let us know what you think of the cards, we'd love to hear that. New decks you think that are going to be good. If you think I'm wrong about Tempo Mage, you think something else is happening. We're always interested in solving this game we call Hearthstone.
Yeah, please let us know all the stuff that you want to do and the stuff that doesn't work and the stuff you're wrong about. Just tweet at us about anything, really.
Yeah, we're desperate.
But we will catch you guys next turn.
See you next turn, folks.